welcome back to my next video. Today I'm going to be making my way of gluten-free baguettes. So I'm going to start by taking a bowl for a stand mixer and pouring in a cup of 105-degree water. And to that I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of active dry yeast and a bit of sugar or honey just to help the yeast have some carbohydrates to help get it going. So I'm just gonna go in with the drizzle of honey. So just a bit of honey, it helps the yeast break. So now I brought a whisk and I'm gonna whisk this all together to get the yeast dispersed and to try to homogenize the mixture. And to this, I'm gonna add 140 grams of sorghum flour. I pre-weighed this out, otherwise it's about a cup, but grams are more accurate, so in the description you can see my recipe. So I'm gonna go in with 140 grams of sorghum flour and add this to the yeast and water mixture. So I mixed this well, and it's about like a liquid consistency, like a batter. And this is a porridge now is what this is called. So I'm gonna let this sit for from 40 to 60 minutes. Depends on how warm your atmosphere is. But this allows the yeast to start digesting some of the sorghum flour and allows it to start producing a lot of carbon dioxide gas. Alright guys, so it's been about an hour, and so you can see the porridge mixture got really bubbly and it's kind of gone down in like airiness, but it got super bubbly. So what I'm gonna do now is add another cup and a tablespoon of water to the mix. And then I'm gonna give it a good stir to get this all mixed in. That's all nice mixed together. And to that, I'm gonna add some flaxseed powder, some psyllium husk powder, and some apple cider vinegar. So I'm gonna start by adding the tablespoon of flaxseed powder. So just gonna dump it in, give it a good whisk, and then following that, I'm gonna add my 2 tablespoons of psyllium husk. And I usually do this in a couple of partitions because you need to make sure your psyllium husk is really well mixed in and that it doesn't clump up. I like to use Anthony's brand. I feel that it's the best for cooking, but it's not good for eating on its own. So I've got my psyllium husk powder mixed in really well, and you can already tell it's starting to thicken up the water mixture. And now to coagulate the mixture, I'm gonna add a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. And you need to be even more careful when adding the psyllium husk powder because it's gonna immediately clump up. So I just keep whisking and then I slowly pour it in and whisk fast so that it doesn't all clump up. Nice. So I've got it all mixed up together, and while that is sitting, it's gonna sit for 5 to 10 minutes. And while that sits, I'm gonna get my tapioca starch and potato starch mixture ready. Alright guys, so while that's sitting, I'm gonna weigh out my dry ingredient mixtures. So I use about 130 grams of potato starch. And I like to use the Bob's Red Mill brand. So I'm gonna weigh out 130 grams. So that's 130 grams. And then to that, I'm gonna add 200 grams of tapioca starch. And if you've seen my dumpling making video, I like to use this blue bag that I get at the Asian stores, and really any Asian market will have it. So I got 200 grams here, and I'm just gonna put these two together, the potato starch and tapioca starch. And to that, I'm gonna add 1.5 teaspoons of salt. Just make sure you're using salt that does not have iodine in it. So kosher salt, pink salt, that'll all work. And I'm gonna give that a quick mix. So while that's sat, I got out my stand mixer, and now you can see with your psyllium husk gel, it should be super thick, like this. And if you flip it upside down or to the side, it's not gonna move. So I'm gonna fit this in, and I'm gonna slowly incorporate this whole bowl of dry ingredients until it's all mixed in. Just go slowly because this can spray everywhere. Alright guys, so I added all my dry ingredients, and now you can see it went from being this really sticky dough that really wasn't much fun to play with, or it was really difficult to work with because it was super sticky, and now it's formed a real dough, similar to one of a bread with real wheat and gluten. So I'm going to turn this out onto the work surface, slowly just incorporate the little bits of flour that I lost while using the machine, and then I'm going to divide this dough into 2 even parts. To make this as even as can be, I like to use a scale. So I've worked with the scale, and these are even. So now I'm just going to slowly shape them into a ball, each one. So I've got these now into 2 balls, and because we're making baguettes, now you're just gonna start rolling them. My tips for rolling these is to slowly roll it and then use your hands to kind of pull it, so you're applying a bit of force to the side, and it slowly stretches the dough while you roll it. And I'm just gonna stretch it out to about 16 inches or to fit my cookie sheet, my baking sheet. So now I've gotten these into 2 even logs, and so that they don't stick while baking, I'm gonna sprinkle the bottoms with a little bit of cornmeal. And now I'm gonna put these onto my cookie sheet. So cornmeal side down, I'll be placing these. So now that I have these on a cookie sheet, I'm gonna preheat the oven to 450 degrees while they rise, and I'm gonna let these sit for about 30 minutes, or the length it takes the oven really to heat up, and just so that they seem to double, but you don't want to overproof them. And I will put a middle rack in my oven, and so I have a middle rack and a bottom rack, and you'll see later we need steam to cook these, so the bottom rack is gonna have a bowl of water, or a pan of water. Alright guys, so it's been about 40 minutes, and while my oven has been preheating, I had these proof and I had a towel. So right before I'm going to put them in the oven now, I'm going to sprinkle some sorghum flour and a slight dusting of water and give it some cut marks to resemble a baked baguette. So I'm just going to mist some water over these, and then I will sprinkle a bit of sorghum flour and then give it the iconic cut marks. I find it easiest to just brush on some water since I don't have anything to spray water, but if you have something to spray water with, I do recommend doing that. So now that I have a good layer of water, I'm going to go and dust with a bit of sorghum flour. So now that I got my sorghum dusting, I'll just brush it around a little, or you could sift it over with a strainer. And now I'm just going to give some cut marks every couple of inches. And this is really where you can personalize it. And right before I put those in the oven, what I'm going to do, is take a tray, fill it with some hot water that I boiled in advance, about a cup, and I'm going to put this on the lower level of my oven. The baguettes are in, and now I'm gonna bake them for about an hour. So I just took these out of the oven. It's been about 45 minutes, and they baked up really well. You can see the slits look better. I would recommend cutting slightly farther down into them, but now I'm just gonna let these rest for at least an hour so that the crumb can set, And then once they're more cooled, you can put them away. So because I use psyllium, I just want to let the psyllium set. So I'm going to let these sit for a good while, probably for the next couple of hours, and then I'll bag them up and put them away. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please subscribe and leave any comments you have. And as always, the recipe's in the description. Bye!